real. What I am to you, do not mean. What I am to you is not what you mean to me. Give me miles and miles of mountains, and I ask for this.
So your workshop is called Cracking the Binary. What exactly does that mean?
By binary, I'm referring to the idea of binary gender. We're taught, most of us who live in North America or Western society are raised thinking that gender is a very black and white binary thing. So you're male or female, you're a boy or a girl. And personally, I don't really think that that's accurate, and I don't think that that's healthy. Gender tends to be, in my experience, tends to be more on a spectrum than in a binary. So you have a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily fit into the category of boy or girl, who would be somewhere in between or outside altogether. Living in a binary society is very unhealthy for these people because it leaves you feeling incredibly unsure. You feel as though you don't fit into these categories, but you're also told that these are the only two categories you're allowed to fit into.
I kiss your lips, your back. Is that all you need?
Is there any way that a school community can make itself more open to accepting trans students and making them feel welcome?
One of the things that trans individuals hate more than being misgendered and misrepresented is being ignored, because we do tend to experience a lot of invisibility within the community and within other communities. So really I think that the first and foremost thing that any school can do is to just make it very clear that they are aware of trans issues and that they don't mind.
What are the differences between transsexual, transgender, and genderqueer?
The word transgender is used as an umbrella term which encompasses a lot of different terms that are used for people who are gender nonconforming. So the word transgender would include transsexuals and genderqueers, along with tons of other people. Just to get a little more specific, transsexuals are people who are born into the body of one sex and choose to alter their body with hormones or surgery in order to feel as though they belong to the gender that they identify with. Whereas genderqueer people are individuals who find themselves in the middle of the spectrum. They're not men, they're not women, they're somewhere else.
And what sort of experiences have you had at different schools?
Mostly positive ones. I've certainly had an easier time than a lot of my trans peers.
Why is that?
A lot of reasons, really. Number one, I'm genderqueer, not transsexual. There's a lot of stigma against transsexuals simply because of our history in our culture. Secondly, because I was born female. We have a lot of ideas in our society about what is masculinity, what is femininity, and what is supposed to be aspired to. There's definitely a lot more stigma against people who are born male who identify as female than there is against people who are born female but identify as male or masculine like me.
What is the difference between gender identity and sexual orientation?
To put it in really simple terms, gender identity is what you feel, sexual orientation is who you like. Your gender identity is entirely personal, subjective. It's what's in your head. It's how you feel in relation to what you're told you should feel like in your society. Whereas sexual orientation is honestly just who you look at and find attractive.
Maybe I've been here before. I know this room now. Walk this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you.
So what has your experience been like so far at SMOO?
It's been good, mostly positive. there doesn't seem to be any outward transphobia here, which is great. There's a lot of people who haven't really thought about trans issues, but that's the case pretty much everywhere. So we definitely have a bit of work to do to get to the place where I personally think we should be at, where I think the whole world should be at. Things like even single-sex bathrooms, single-sex uniforms. Things like that are just very difficult to deal with when you are gender nonconforming, because they do separate you on sex lines, but it forces people to also separate you on gender lines, and those two things don't always go together. But again, these are problems that are not specific to SMU, and I think schools all over the place struggle with these from an administrative perspective, and also from the perspective of just trying to make their students comfortable.
Hallelujah.